on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Talking Elite Fitness. I'm Sean Woodland, being joined, as always, by Lauren Khalil. Lauren, what's up?
I'm great, but my calves are sore. Calf raises.
Oh, geez. And featuring Tommy Marquez. Tommy, how are you?
Good.
How are your calves?
My calves feel great, actually, although they were a sore couple of days ago because I did play basketball for the first time in a long time. And so
baller.
Did some calf warm-ups to avoid the old Achilles tear, which happens when men age 35 to 45 at a shocking amount.
Yes,
so.
that's I actually got to. I kind of want to mention it now because it was so brilliant, but it is my
do it.
Okay, so I'm working out. I went to my 5 a.m. class with my dad's the other day, and it wasn't. I can't remember.
My dad's
with the dad group. You know, it's like the dad group.
Yeah.
There we go. And I'm in there, and I had surgery on my right knee, right? So we were doing. I can't remember what we were doing. It wasn't squatting, but it was something that required. It may have been burpees, box jumps, something. I can't remember. But I put the knee sleeve on the right knee, and my friend Trevor Solomon, genius, and I'm so mad I didn't think of this. Comes up to me, and goes, going with a single silencer, huh? Called my knee sleeve a silencer. I'm like, that is brilliant. Got to put the silencers on so you don't hear them popping. He's like, yeah, single silencer. That's a good look. I was like, oh man, why didn't I think of that?
Make sure you got a permit for those.
A silencer. That's so good.
I haven't. Why haven't I not heard of that?
Right?
So
I'm
good.
like, damn it, Trevor. I wish I would have thought of that. That is, I'm going to give him. So I wanted to give him credit for it on the show. So yeah, when you're old and you put on them knee sleeves, you're putting on the silencers. Which sounds so much better than like a neoprene support system. Like, you know, it's just put on the silencer. So anyway, thank you, Trevor, for that. Well, we got a lot to talk about today. A lot of news happening. Got some updates with the CrossFit Games. Semifinals are right around the corner. In fact, by the time you hear this / watch it, I'll probably be on my way to Tennessee for the Mayhem Classic, and that's this weekend. Got some news from the World Fitness Project and just some other general notes that we want to catch up on. But first, we want to give a special thanks to our friends over at Yeti. Yeti, built for the wild, for hooking us up. I guess what outfitting us for the year, really. I mean, they've been great partners. We got our tumblers, we got our coffee cups, we got our chairs. They've been so good to us. They make a mean dog bed. Like I got a dog bed that has been, it's like bomb proof. Dog bowls. I mean, their stuff is fantastic. Got the coolers. You know, if you're someone who's just wants good, high quality stuff, like if you're out and about and I got a box. I got a cooler. I keep my lunch in every day. Their stuff is amazing. Yeti.com.
Bags, backpacks,
everything.
Travel,
yes,
suitcases. They have everything. And their lunch pails. For anybody who needs not using it for a lunch pail, I use mine as my toiletries bag, and it works perfect. Okay.
The way you started that out, I was like,
I was like, what is that for?
Don't want to know.
I thought
you can use it for anything.
Yeah.
When you were like, I almost jumped in. I was like, coolers, and they got coolers so big you can lay in them. And I was like, no, that's not really a selling point.
I mean, it is if you're like Dexter, and you're trying to.
Yeah.
You could hide a body in some of them.
Yeah. Now we're going to a dark place.
At the end of Talladega Nights, when they do the fake ads, and he's like, he does McCready's funeral service. His body's so good, you want to talk to him. Could do a whole cutout for Yeti.
All right. Well, anyway, thanks to Yeti. Go check them out, Yeti.com. We got good people over there for hooking us up. I wanted to give them a special shout out on the show. Okay, let's start. We'll start with Games tickets. Games tickets are on sale. In case you didn't notice. And judging by the sales, a lot of you didn't.
Oh God.
Well, look, let's be honest here. Okay. Like last year.
Yeah.
They sold out in 4.5 hours. Okay. This year we're a couple days in and they're at 40% capacity. They filled 40% of the seats.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think there are, first of all, I think there's a number of reasons for this. My fear is that this is not just going to be, I hope it's not, but I hope this is not a wider indication of just a general apathy about the competitive side of CrossFit. and so I think location, what happened last year, obviously the two biggest things. I think there's maybe a couple other factors that are playing into it, but I think those are the two biggest ones. And I hope it gets turned around, because I think that, and Lauren and I were talking about this before we hopped on. It's going to be a good show. It's going to be a good event. It's going to be a fun time. And if you have a chance to go, I would suggest you go. Like, if you've never been to the games, you should go. It's a great experience. It's a great event. But
it's interesting because I knew that the ticket sales were down before anybody even wrote an article, because some of my friends texted in the group, hey, like, there's so many tickets left. Should we go to the games? And just to echo what Sean said, if you've never been, if you're able to go, it still is an extraordinary event to watch incredible athletes, because even though not all of your typical elite athletes are going to compete this year, there's still plenty of them. And it is an interesting conversation, though, trying to figure out what is the reason for the ticket sales to be down so far. Because yes, you could point to the location. Maybe it's just me because I'm from this area, but I think of, Dallas Fort Worth. That has a driver for me, because I can think of all of the little pockets around the stadium of, I can watch the elite athletes compete, but then I can go doing some of these fun touristy things. There are touristy things to do in Albany, but it's just a very different experience.
Was it, I don't know. I mean, I think about the last now 2 locations that we had, not Albany aside, Fort Worth and Madison. Like, is there a big, Fort Worth, because of its proximity
Madison
to Dallas,
has
I guess.
Great downtown area.
But the problem was that when they first went there in 2017, there were a lot of questions about it.
Yeah, I will say that there were questions, but everyone from the Midwest was chanting that Madison is a great town.
True,
like a sneaky good town.
It is.
I think it was more because it's a college town. Not a lot of people from the coastal cities had maybe gone there, but everyone from the Midwest is like, hey, if you've ever been to Madison, it's actually a cool town. It's a great outdoor city. There were some stats behind the scenes as far as it's the biking capital of the United States.
Yeah.
Like all the trailheads, and it's one of the outdoor capitals of the United States. Like there was some cool stuff behind that just needed to be unraveled a little bit. But yeah, I haven't heard that yet from Albany.
Well, I remember, Tommy, you mentioned that when they made that announcement, I remember Dave Castro and Justin Berg hammering home those points when they would talk about it publicly. And saying how when they went, they really looked at the space and they understood, look, there's some real potential here. But yeah, like I said, I my bigger concern here is that this is going to be something that's not just individual, like contained within the games. Because look back at the past couple of years of semifinals tickets. Look at last year in West Coast. Like that was, I don't think anybody expected that. This has been a kind of a trend. So I don't know if it's just.
I think some of the things that semifinals and World Fitness Project have in favor, though, is they have these community divisions. So that is going to bake in other spectators, because you think of High Rocks that has completely blown up. I don't know that spectators necessarily are going to watch the elite 15, their top end athletes compete. I think there just happen to be so many spectators there that are competing themselves, and then they can go and watch the other heats. So having the community divisions certainly helps. I don't know how much, but it adds something.
Yeah, no, I think it's fair. I think that's a really good point. But we'll see what happens, and maybe as we get through semifinals and kind of the storylines start to pick up and competition, people get used to watching it, helps with those ticket sales. But that was I was pretty shocked to hear that they were where they were. I didn't think they'd be selling out in 4.5 hours, but I did not think that we would be where we are now. But yeah, if you can make it, buy tickets. It's going to be a good show. Like it always is. Like
the arena looks cool too.
Yeah. I think that
is it where the Albany Empire played? That was the Arena League football team that Antonio Brown bought and then in 3 months sunk the entire league because they were the defending champions. He spent all their cash, didn't pay anyone, closed the ended the team, and then as a result, because they were the champions, the entire arena league folded.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
That's it. Did you ever see that 30 for 30 on the old USFL?
Yeah,
I love the part where they tell like when the guys would get their checks, it'd be like a race to the bank because if you didn't get it in time, there's a chance that it wasn't going to clear. That's good stuff. All right, well, listen, buy tickets if you can get there. Okay, do it. It will be worth it. Like if you're on the fence and you can make it easily, go. It's going to be fun. It always is a good time. And I don't know what they have. I think one thing they should do, and they should do it sooner rather than later, is that if they have any sort of, and they've done a little bit of this, but if they have any sort of peripheral activities going on, I mean, like whatever it is, vendor village, I don't care what it is, but start trying to build some hype about, hey, it's not just the competition. There's going to be all this other stuff going on. And there has been a little bit of that going out there, but it's always a fun environment. Go check it out. It'll be fun.
And you can get the best chicken quesadilla of your life right downtown.
Yeah, get yourself a dang quesadilla. Okay.
That was not on my bingo card for Albany.
No, it was not. But Lauren has told us about that.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's take one step back from the games and what is up next now on the schedule for the CrossFit Games season, semifinals. So we have in-person semifinal action starting for the individuals this weekend in good old Cookeville, Tennessee at Mayhem Classic. 2 spots for men, 2 spots for women from those. Yep. And then we also have the age group semifinals going on. That's been a popular topic.
Yeah, it's
popular.
the workouts got posted.
Yes, they did.
A lot of people were complaining that there was no squatting. Kind of neither here nor
Sean
there.
wouldn't complain that there's no squatting.
I have to go double silencers on that. Let me ask you this: is that one of those movements like you got to have it? Like there's just some things are non-negotiable. You got to go below parallel in a competition. Like is that? Do you think that's one of those things that has to be in there?
Kind of. I would say I wouldn't necessarily make it just solely squatting because I think for a lot of athletes in this particular programming slate, heavy Isabel is going to require below parallel
That's a really
for them.
Good point.
So it's kind of a choose your own adventure element for that. I think I would count lunging. I would broaden it out. It's not just squatting. I would say like squatting, lunging, like significant leg kind of pressing strength is an element that I think needs to be included. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we have that here. So that combined with Isabel, I think it's okay. It didn't stand out as big of a like glaring hole to me as other people may have said. I also tend to, and this is just me, and we've had this discussion quite a bit on the show. I tend to kind of hit pause on really, really condemning programming until I have a better idea of the season, if that makes sense. And that's not just like in recent history. I may have been critical in the past, but I like even go back to our time at CrossFit, like 2017 when there was no barbell.
That was
at
all dumbbells regionals, right?
It was all dumbbells, and I was kind of like, really, this seems like a lot. But then if you zoom out, like, what are we filtering for? What is ultimately waiting for them at the next levels that they're filtering for? And then and as a result, did this programming do a good job of filtering that for those people? With experienced programmers, I tend to give them the benefit of the doubt for that. Where, hey, if you feel like, the leg strength, leg endurance kind of combo is going to be accomplished through the walking lunges, the alternating dumbbell snatches, and the box jump overs in that, which I don't know if some people have tested that, like your legs are going to be burning from that. So that could potentially be a quick sprint, accomplish that. And that's what they want to test for. So, do I get some of the criticisms of people being like, we want to do squatting? Yeah, maybe, but there are many ways to skin this cat.
It's going to be a lot easier to judge. Like when you look through the workouts, there's there's not a lot of stuff that you see where you're like, ooh, that's going to be, it's always below parallel. It's always an issue, because, and Tommy, this, and Lauren, this, like you'll be watching it on video. A lot of times you'll be calling an event and you'll be looking right at it. Like that doesn't look, from the angle I'm looking at, that doesn't look good. And there's a judge staring right at it. Usually, and a lot of times it's someone, I know, and I trust that person's ability to look at movement and judge it, and they're not saying a thing. So, so I think that by getting rid of that movement in an all virtual semifinals certainly takes away the potential for, mass no reps and things like that. Now there's still things in here that are going to need to be looked at carefully, but that to me is one of the big ones. And maybe they save that for when you get in person.
Yeah.
Now that's easier to deal with,
I can see that. And I also
standpoint. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, you have extra judges here now, so that's also an element of it. But, I do think, also speaking to the gray area that going below parallel can have, when you have something like Heavy Isabel, where athletes are going to have to do it out of, strength and technical necessity for the athlete's sake, rather than for the judges and format's sake. I think, I don't know. I think that's wise programming. It's like, hey, we're kind of going to make you squat, but it's not going to be required explicitly. So you don't have to worry about whether or not you're getting below parallel, but good technique, good movement is ultimately going to pay off if you go below parallel here. It's like a kind of a categorical difference.
I like that a lot. Like, I think that's a really good point. It's that you look at that weight at 215. So it's Heavy Isabel, like the last event. Well, you have to do an order, but the submission deadline is the 6th. And it started right now. So this is happening. But to your point, Tommy, there's not a lot of, especially as you get into the higher age groups, like my age group, 45, or God, not anymore. I'm 50 to 55. You get into that age group, like, put the double silencers on and you're going below parallel. Like that's a squat snatch. Like I don't know a lot of guys. I mean, a couple guys I think who can.
Don't worry, your barbell is 155 for that age group.
50 to 55, really? No, I think that doesn't. I don't think it changes till.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. I was at women. I was at women. Never mind. Oh wait,
that's 55 plus.
Yeah, 55 plus is when it actually
55
to
59.
Yeah, so
155.
Yeah, but I'm in 51 to 50.
He's 50 to 54.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Double silencers.
Put the silencers on.
I can't get enough of
isn't
that.
That great?
It's still 155. It's still 155.
For 50 to 54?
Yeah.
Oh. So you're saying there's a chance.
There you go, Sean.
Still for speed.
What was all that 1 in a million talk?
Yeah. If you're doing that for speed, I'm not power snatching that 30 times. Now, I'm not going to semifinals, but I do agree with you, Tommy. I think like it's in there if you want, you're probably going to have to do it. If you're someone who got this far and you're getting to that event and you can't power snatch that, like you're going to be screwed anyway if you can't get below parallel effectively, right? I mean, you're done, you're out, you're not moving on. So I do like that difference, and I think it makes the judging of this much easier.
Yeah, I mean, they also like to touch on what Lauren just pointed out. They broke from traditional age group programming and tiered pretty much all the weights across the board. Because like we had falsely assumed, the weight was going to stay relatively constant until you hit the 55 to 59, which is how
the weight goes down immediately. So 35 to 30. Yeah, each tier just about the weight changes.
I think that makes sense now. Yeah, I think it's an additive element to it for this program in particular.
We were actually talking about the other day after one of our Friday workouts. We go get coffee, and it's like, I think it was after the last open workout. Someone said, "Man, when does the weight change?" And I go, "It's not till 55." It's like, "Oh man, that sucks."
Strap in, young buck.
Yep. Okay, so submissions are due on the 6th. Please, 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 for the love of God, if you're listening to this and you're competing and you're serious, watch your videos. Go through them with a fine-tooth comb. We've talked to Jason Grubb about this. You got to be very critical of yourself. You don't want to be like, I think I'll get away with that, because now you're taking a huge risk of putting it into someone else's hands, and you're going to get penalized, and that could cost you. Please watch your videos. Okay.
Yeah.
Make other people watch your videos. If there is a doubt, there is no doubt. Fix it. Redo it. And I think that, you can debate as to whether or not, Tommy, you mentioned it, having two judges there. Like, I don't know if that's necessary. But you got no excuse.
Review your video.
And make your judges judge. They're not there to count reps. Make them judge. Make them tell you, like, you better know rep me. Again, Jason Grubb said this. I tell my judges, please, for the love of God, no rep me, because that no rep is going to be a lot less costly than you not calling me on it and then it getting caught in the video review process. So try to fix it in real time. All right. That's my PSA for the day. And now I'm off my soapbox. All right, moving on. Let's talk World Fitness Project. The Challenger qualifiers are going on right now. The first one is wrapped. There's 3 of them that will round out the field for the. Did I say something wrong?
Technically, there's 2. So for the finals, they're just going to take the top ranked athletes rather than do a third qualifier for the pro division.
For this first in-person event, aren't there 3 for the first in-person event?
Yeah.
So 3 online qualifier events, right?
Yes.
And that's wrapped.
And yep.
Okay, so they've had all 3 events. They've judged it. Leaderboard is being finalized, and we will know the 10 men and 11 women because Emma McQuaid dropped out of the first event, but she will be competing in the second one. First one's in Indianapolis. Second one is in Arizona. So 11 women from that leaderboard are going to move on and be in the pro division.
Yep, and then down to 31st, we'll get into the second tier division, the Challenger division in Indianapolis too, which all of those spots also get points. So you're fighting for those additional points. So there is, and they just announced that there's going to be 5 payouts for the top 5 athletes in the Challenger division now. So not just all of the pro division athletes, but the next tier down, the top 5 athletes will all get paid as well. So that's a cool kind of like add-on. Originally, there wasn't necessarily any payouts guaranteed. They were able to, through sponsorships and added revenue, sprinkle that in, which is cool. So, based off the initial runs at the leaderboard, we'll have to get final confirmation, which should be coming in the next few days. Mm-hmm. The Challenger division is going to be littered with like 7 to 10 games athletes for men and women too. Mm-hmm. So,
do you know where to find that leaderboard? I've been looking at it so we can go through.
Oh yeah, I got it.
All right. Efforting.
So this leaderboard has been locked since the competition closed. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it reflects necessarily any changes. I just sent it to you, Sean.
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
But you right now, you look at.
So I'm in the men's right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, you got and so obviously like the pro division is going to be hotly contested,
right?
But I just like want to highlight the fact like you go down below that cut line, whether it's Chris Ibarra and from last year as a games athlete, Jorge Fernandez from CrossFit Invictus, Callum Clements, Victor Lundal, Jack Farlow, Nikita Jungdorf, who is a high level athlete out of Europe and Middle East, Nick Anapolsky.
He's a team. Was he on teams?
Team athlete, yeah. And I believe his wife is in the mix for the women's side too. So that's pretty impressive. You have Ty Jenkins, a former teen champion, games champion, who is in that. Jack Rosema, Roldan Goldbaum. Mm-hmm. Overall, it's a pretty impressive like group of athletes that. Like any one of those athletes in the Challenger division, say they finished first, second, third, or somewhere along the lines of, in the money, that's easily puts you in striking distance if you make it into the pro division for the next event to have enough points to make sure to secure your pro card for the next year. So there's some pretty cool stuff up for grabs.
Yeah, and then on the women's side, mentioned 11 women are going to that first event because of Emma McQuaid dropping out. But yeah, Annika Greer's up there, Solberg, Ella Wilkinson, Fisa Gaffi, Lexi Neely, Lydia Fish, Linda Kiesman, Trista Smith, Jamie Simmons, and Emily Rethwell. Mm-hmm. And the last one from Norway.
And below the cut line too.
Last one, Vor Thurman Mo. She's a games team athlete as well.
Okay.
And then look at who's below right below the cut
Yep.
line there. Same thing as the men: Sydney Mikulish and Kyra Milligan, Shelby Neal, Abby Domet, Elena Cartala, M. DeRoy. Like I like seeing the parody element of this. It's not just like, the top athletes are going to show up and they're going to dominate and they're going to take those 10 spots. There's like there's people like, I would say minor upsets, since we're in the vein of March Madness right now, of some athletes that hey, maybe if you just stacked them on historical resume, might not have made it, but they showed up in this qualifier. And 53 countries competed in it. They posted that to the Instagram today.
That's a really cool stat.
Every single continent represented, which is super cool as well. Good mix up for an event that is geared towards the elite. Like it's not like this isn't the Open. It's not trying to get everybody possible. This is definitely more geared towards the elite.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, looking forward to that. First event is in May, correct? In Indianapolis. Tommy Marquez is going to be there on the call with Jeremy Austin and a whole host of very talented people.
Yep. So come on out to Indy. Get yourself some of that spicy shrimp cocktail from one of the famous steakhouses that they have there, that everybody talks about during the NFL Combine. And
yeah.
Yep. So
Indy's a cool city.
It is. When we were there for the Combine, I was actually impressed by the layout.
Yeah.
I get to fly into Nashville tomorrow, and I love Nashville. Nashville's a great. You ever been to Nashville?
I love Nashville.
It's a great city. Like that is
That's a place I could live.
Freaking city, man. Like I was first time I was ever there, I think was I want to say it was to the NCAA tournament way back when Florida was starting their ascent under Billy Donovan. And that main, I think is it Broadway, the main strip there, that it's like the arena's on. It's so fun. It's a great
Nash Vegas,
baby.
I could see Lauren getting into her woo girl phase back on Nash Vegas, throwing on some pink boots and
my sister's bachelorette party was there, and obviously I was the coordinator. I still have the itinerary somewhere if you want me to send it to you, Sean, so you can hit some of the spots before you come home.
Well, I don't. Yeah, the problem is I fly in and then I got to drive to Cookeville. So driving with our good friend Red Hat Drew Cooper, that's going to be fun.
Nice.
We have similar tastes in music, so we've already communicated to be like, are you bringing the playlist or am I bringing the playlist? I think it's going to be a joint effort. So
Sean can dust off the old assless chaps.
No. I think that's the wrong city. If I wore those in Nashville, you ain't from around here, are you? No, I'm not. All right, let's see. Next thing. So, let's get to what's going on this weekend, and that is the Mayhem Classic. So that's the first in-person event. I'm going to do it. I didn't want to mention it. I've known for a while because Ro and his whole crew wanted to do something fun.
Which is great.
Those announcements were awesome with you phoning in.
So
great.
Ro was like, kind of explained the idea to me. And I was like, that sounds fun. Let's do it. And we actually recorded one from my house, but he didn't realize you can't record audio on a FaceTime thing. So we had to redo it. I said, well, why don't I call you tomorrow morning? Or why don't you call me tomorrow morning after I'm done at the gym, and I'll actually be in a gym. It'll seem more natural. So it worked out, but I thought Angelo and Rich were hilarious.
Oh my God.
They were perfect. Spot on.
Yeah.
For their dynamic,
fantastic.
Can I it's straight bleeping out.
No, you definitely can't say that. No. Ro was, those were funny. Like I realized I'm glad I get to be part of that.
Very good.
But it's going to be a fun competition. And I think what's cool about it is that it is, this is not going to be, if you want to watch it, which I hope you do, this is not going to be like a 10-hour endeavor, right? Like it's going to, these are more or less going to be contained within, I think, a 4 or 5 hour at the most broadcast window. I got to look at the schedule specifically, but it's pretty tight broadcast windows. You have, I think it's 28 women because 2 have dropped out. Get to that in a second. And then 30 men. And, so I don't know how many heats they're going to have. I think it's 3. Maybe they're going to have each.
3?
I think so, or depending on what the event is. I think they might run some bigger. I haven't seen all the stuff. Tommy,
subtract 10 from those. I think it's 20 men
20 and 18.
18.
Okay, I thought it was.
Yeah, I remember thinking that it was a much more condensed.
Oh, you're
field,
right.
unless
I'm
they've
looking at
added
my.
people.
I'm looking at my. Hang on. I'm looking at my. Yeah, you're right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9,
This
10,
might be a
11,
dumb question
12, 13,
though.
14.
So then all of the semifinals don't have
Yeah,
the
it's
same
20.
amount of qualifiers,
No, yeah,
like for in person.
no, and this field was being selected a while ago too. Like these invites. Have
Yeah,
gone
I
out.
remember that.
Yeah, so that was that. I would say this is a carryover from sanctionals, where one of the main criticisms is that athletes aren't completing the same amount of work in order to get to the games, right?
Mhm.
You know, go back to the last year in 2020, you have, a Pandaland, which had 2 days and 5 to 6 events. And then you had Wadapalooza or Dubai that has 12 events over, 4 days and all this stuff. And it's like, well, how, and this is more from the athlete side, how can you stand shoulder to shoulder with someone and feel like, hey, we both deserve to be here? And that was something you routinely heard behind the scenes, on the road with athletes being like, I want to go to an event where I'm going to get my money's worth on programming and actually feel like I belong. Other athletes were like, nah, just get me to the games. Just get me in somehow. But I think 2 things can be true at once. Obviously, this is going to be a 2-day event. It's much more condensed, it's not going to be as long as some of the other events, but you're not going to get shortchanged with programming from the Mayhem crew.
No.
And I really like the way they've tied in some nostalgia.
I do
to
too.
it.
I really like that a lot. Like that's some of those events are going to be, they're throwbacks and sort of hybrids or, reimagination, I guess, of old games events, and they're going to be fun. So yeah, 20. You're right. 20. Apologies for that. 20 men, 18 women. To me, that's the perfect amount. I think 20 is great. 2 heats, they both matter. You're doing the same event. Like if an event has a 30-minute time cap and you got to run 4 heats, like that gets so just,
oh man.
And honestly, look, no one's watching the first 2 except friends and family because they really don't matter. And then it's heat 3 and heat 4 are the ones that matter. So let's just cut out the heats 1 and 2, and we're just going to run heats 3 and 4. So from a viewer standpoint and from a broadcast, just a product, I think it's an ideal number. But yeah, it's we'll start on the women's side because I mentioned 2 women have dropped out, and that's Danielle Brandon and Brooke Wells. So 2 women I think who would most likely be in the conversation of earning one of those 2 tickets to the games. I'll call it the women's field here. I got it right here.
Yep.
But then you look at the next 2, and I think the Mayhem Classic on their Instagram page. That's what I have up here. I think they have them pretty well ranked here, but after Brandon and Wells, you probably then look at Raptis, Rolf, Semenza, and Adams in that next group, and that's how they have them listed. Anybody else, Tommy, you think they should be up there?
Yeah, I think Abby Domitz, won the West Coast Classic event last year. I kind of put Carolyn Stanley, Shelby Neal in that kind of same grouping of they could catch a little. I would put Fee there too. They could catch a tailwind and surprise some people. It's important to note that not everyone is eligible to qualify. I do not believe Victoria Campos she's one of them.
Yeah, because you had to have done the Open. That is non-negotiable.
Yeah, obviously Manon Angonese is there's a lot of talented women here. A lot of them have CrossFit Games appearances under their belt. But
Haley Adams too. Don't sleep on Haley Adams.
Yeah. The heavy Isabel is the one that makes me nervous. Yep. Although I said this way back in 2019 in First Cut when the heavy snatches were up. Haley is surprisingly good at moving that 70 to 80% weight for heavy singles. Where it's it may be a lower percentage for other athletes, but if everyone has to do heavy singles because that's the most advantageous strategy, she can clip some people.
Yeah.
So, she did last year at semifinals in the snatch event.
Yeah.
She I was very impressed with where she finished.
Yeah, I think she's also the relative strength for that lift is a little bit better comparatively to the field too.
it's going to Mayhem puts on a great event. Tommy, you and I called the very first Mayhem Classic, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Back in
2020, yeah.
Was it 2020 or 2019?
It was 2020 season. It was right around the first of the year. It was one
right
of those
before the
open, the open had technically happened in October that year, but everyone kind of reset in February mentally, and it happened right before that.
You know what I can't wait for? Just to see Senior running around getting stuff done. Remember how that guy was just like, I'll never forget the first Mayhem Classic. That guy never stopped. He was just fixing stuff. He had like duct tape and wrenches and a tool belt. And he was just, this thing, I got to go fix this. And he'd take care of that. And then he was, fixing food. And then he was doing another thing. Like he is the glue that keeps that place together.
At one point, because they put us up in that same spot, right? Yeah. And we were in the same spot for the Legends competition weekend that year too. Like he came into my corner of my eye in the peripheral, and we're up high, right? So I'm like, why do I see movement here? And he's up on a scissor lift, like sideways, and just I feel like that would be a hilarious ad for them too, of like. It's like a highlight of Mayhem Classic, but in every background, just Mayhem, he's just there like doing some other ridiculous like job with the tool. Like he's got like a belt saw or something. Like
love that guy,
a belt sander, and just
a good human being. All right, men's field: Roman Krennikov, Jason Hopper, Guy Mayeros, James Sprague, Sam Cornwallier. Those are, again, I think they have these guys ranked pretty well in the order that they show them. I think this is going to be a fun. This is going to be a fun competition to watch with the talent they have on the men's side. Like, I don't know.
This is a great way to kick off the in-person.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a clear-cut favorite here.
It's tough, right? Because, I mean, a slip-up is going to really punish you because and such a mixture of athletes, too, between Roman and Jason and James, and they kind of do well in some similar stuff. But then you look at guys like Austin Hatfield and Jack Farlow and Colton. And Colton, you could argue, is one of the hottest guys, like in terms of like how he's performing between the Open and the WFP Challenger qualifier, like doing well there.
On a roll.
Like, does that carry over? Does that first event in the running? Like, how is he going to hold up on those 800s? When you have guys like Hopper and Roman and Sprague that are going to be out front, it's very intriguing to say the least, because there are events here that he's going to crush.
Yeah, this is a good crew, man.
And there's only two. And it's like, here's the thing: if the podium is, would you be surprised if it were, any combination? The podium were any combination of Roman, Jason, James, Austin, and Colton.
No.
And
but I mean, that's how the men's field is. Like, you can interchange many of them,
and only two spots.
Mm-hmm.
I think in many ways it was smart for a lot of the athletes to try and do this, dust off some live competition, stuff, and know that it's an abbreviated weekend with only 2 days.
Yeah,
and you're going to get some high skill stuff and some really cool like nostalgic programming from Rich and the crew.
I love that. I'm really I love that and we mentioned it before, but they use the Burden Run as I think Midline March or Midline Madness. I can't remember which one. I think it's Midline March.
Well, because it's got and they did this idea that do you remember I pitched the way back in like 2016, the 10-year anniversary. I pitched a 10 for 10 series.
Yes, I do remember this.
It was like 10 iconic moments, and you sat down with the athletes that were involved, and it was just like them kind of narrating through like this games moment, and it got to like almost getting approved, and finally they shut me down last minute, and I was like really bummed. But I've always loved those iconic moments narrated through the eyes of an athlete. Yeah. And I wish the space did more of them. And that's exactly what they did with Rich for some of these. The Midline March for Double Grace, the Cincos, the 305 Snatch, the Legless Thruster, they even, modern era thruster wall walk as a team. And even having the 333 event with him not pacing it on the running was hilarious.
So two things. First, the 305 snatch that he did at the Invitational, because that was in our backyard here at the SAP Center in San Jose. And I'll never forget, he hits that lift. The place goes bananas. then we go, it calms down. We go to break, and we were broadcasting from the floor, like we were right there. And I remember turning around and Froning's family and Rich Senior were there. I'm like, and I looked at Senior, and go, "What the hell are you feeding that kid?" And Senior goes, "Well, whatever he wants." And then
nice.
Then on the 333, we called that from the tennis stadium. So we were calling it off monitors. And there were people, the stadium wasn't packed, but people were watching it. People were in their seats. It was kind of like a smattering of spectators. And I'll never forget when we put that shot up of Rich Froning walking, you could hear the audible, whoa, like there's an audible gasp, and you heard it like from all around the stadium. So those are, I can't wait to talk to him about that. I hope we get to dig into that on air a little bit.
And that was a big gasp because that year in particular led off with the overhead squat and the beach event on Wednesday, and following 2013 when Rich had struggled in the pool, he came off, I want to say like 8th at the beach, and then tied with Matt Fraser on the overhead squat, and everybody's like, "Oh crap. Like Rich isn't fighting out of like 18th place on day one. Well, just give him the title now. It's over." And I think mentally when we reset for Friday morning, a lot of people were like, "Yep, it's already over. It's already over." Yeah, and then that out of the gate, him like cramping and walking, everyone's like, "What the hell is happening?" That was like this huge like shock, especially after what happened in 2013, which in both instances I won. I want to say I won a meal off of Russ Green because I bet him that Rich would still win. And he was like, there's no way. There's no way. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Good old Russ Green. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, yeah, Mayhem Classic is this week. And I think, and I got to call this up, so I'm going to just vamp for a second here. But I'm pretty sure that this kicks off kind of a consecutive weekend of competition, right? Like we're getting, I'm trying to find it.
So we'll have a break next weekend, then Copa Sur, followed by Wadland Fest, a break for the first weekend in May. A break for the first weekend in May, then French Throwdown, then Fittest Experience.
Okay, I'm looking at it. Here, let me call it up so we can all.
Yeah.
So we're all reading out the same sheet of music, as they like to say, Tommy.
It's no Cousin Dale music, that's for
So
sure.
yeah, they're here the dates. Yeah. Mayhem Classic. Then, as Tommy said, Copa Sur, Wadland Fest is the following weekend. So we got 3 straight weekends. Then we got the French Throwdown on May 9th. So I think we got a weekend off in there, right? Between. And then we go Fittest Experience. That's in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Yep.
Get a break from Memorial Day.
Get a break. Then we got Rebel Renegade Games going on. Then we got Far East Throwdown, same weekend. So there's a weekend where there's 4. All
of them.
So this is the weekend of May 29th. Crazy. That's the one. Circle that on your calendar. That's like if you're someone who just wants to watch nonstop
don't go anywhere.
Stuff, you're going to have probably round the clock coverage here because you got Rebel Renegade going on in South Africa. Far East, that's in the Republic of Korea. You've got Syndicate Crown, that's in Knoxville, Tennessee, and you got the Torium Pro in Brisbane.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you can probably watch from Thursday straight on till Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be wall to wall.
Oh, yeah, because of time.
Well, let's assume, I don't even know if there's going to be streams. I'm pretty confident in saying that there will be one for Torium Pro because they usually
Torium Pro, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I know they'll have, I think there'll be some, I'm not sure about Rebel Renegade or Far East, but they put one on last year, so we'll see. And then we're going to conclude things with Northern California, the NorCal Classic on June 6th in my hometown, the great city. The 916, Sacramento, California. So there you go.
Where are you from, Sean? Citrus Heights?
No, I grew up in Carmichael. Yeah.
I'm kidding. I know you're not from Citrus Heights. Although I think you told me a story about Citrus Heights.
Well, my wife worked there. She was she was a police officer there, before she moved to the Bay Area locale. But yeah, I hope that, and then, let's not forget, also in May, we're going to have the first World Fitness Project event. So we got a lot to watch.
Oh, yeah,
here.
Weekend of the 10th.
And kind of going back to where we started here with the ticket thing and the maybe what I'm afraid that is a wider sort of lack of enthusiasm for just the sport in general. I hope that is not the case. I hope that maybe these coming weeks, people start to watch a little bit, get fired up a little bit more, see some good competition, hopefully see some good productions. We're really sure as hell going to try not to screw it up in Cookeville. and that maybe build some momentum going into the games. And, I really hope that there's packed stands in Indianapolis for the World Fitness Project, because I would definitely I want all this to succeed because it's better for everybody. But I'm a little nervous.
I feel like regardless, your TD should just have a bleep button just to throw in randomly when Angelo is talking, even if he doesn't say anything, just for as a joke at one point. Little Easter egg.
So one of the things when when two people, it's pretty easy to figure out when you're in the booth. But when it's three, and when you have two people like Rich and Angelo who know each other so well, and kind of what the dynamic
they got
is,
the chemistry.
Like throwing me in there, I'm like, oh man, I hope I don't mess this up, and I hope this is good. Like, I've worked with Rich before in some of these events, and he's fantastic. The more I'm around Rich Froning, the more I like being around him because he's just a really good guy. But I hope that I'm not like the sore thumb there. I hope it's a seamless thing. And
Sean, you're a pro.
Well, it's not that.
Everybody is anxious to hear you back on the mic.
Just how I fit in. Like, those guys are very popular, and I'm going to do my thing, but I also I don't want it to seem like out of place or anything like that. That's what I'm saying. I want to be able for all of us to have fun and for everybody to do.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Yeah. Hello, young people. Do you mind if I put my silencer on? My right now is my silencer. Every time, I swear to God, every time I stand up, right knee pop. You hear it just happens. So, got to put the silencers on. All right. Do we have community support this week?
I do not have any.
Okay, no community support. If you guys want us to get the word out on something, please send it to us. We're always happy to, get people going to the right spots to help people out. You can hit us up on our individual Instagram accounts, our Talking Elite Fitness Instagram account. Please send as many details as you possibly can, because like I said, want to make sure we're sending people to the right spot. All right, we can close out with PRs and no reps. I've already given my PR, my good buddy, Trevor Solomon, workout buddy, for christening the knee sleeves that will for now heretofore be referred to as silencers.
I'm going to use that when I go to the gym.
Good.
That is so good. That is so good.
I got one more PR I can hand out. I don't think I have a no rep. You guys got a no rep?
I got a no rep.
All right.
I'm going to no rep all of my potential 2025 gains because a new Mexican supermarket, a supermercado, if you will, opened up in my hometown, and I sauntered in there today for the first time. And I swear to God, that thing is like Mexican Disneyland.
Do they have a taqueria there?
Oh, there's a
Mexican Disneyland.
It's
an even smaller world.
A pequeño world. It's a taqueria, Lauren.
Reading is hard.
It is, and you would have really struggled inside this supermarket. But I kid you not, it really was like, I texted my wife. I was like, I just walked into Mexican Disneyland and I rode Espesa Mountain, and it was fantastic. and I'm finally coming down from it. But they had awesome deals on meat. They had a fresh tortillas getting made as we speak. One of the ladies behind the counter pointed at me and says, "You want fresh tortillas?" And I was like, "I do."
Hell yeah, I do.
I didn't know I did at the time, but she just said it with such authority that I was like, I do now. And she threw me a pack of like fresh corn tortillas, and I walked out of there, happy as a clam. And they have, the entire outside of the supermarket was just perfect. They had 18 different kinds of chorizo. They had every cut of meat you could want.
Unlicensed food vendors everywhere.
Oh my gosh, it was fantastic.
Health code violations all over the place.
I basically texted him. I was like, we got to come back here every week. This is our supermarket now.
Oh, wow. All right. That's a good one. All right, Lauren, you got a no rep?
Yeah. So both have to do with my calves. I'm going to no rep single leg calf raises because
underestimated those, did we?
I've done a lot of double unders in a workout before. Like, I can do, over under 500 in a workout and feel nothing in my calves the next day. Well, I did maybe a little more than 50 single leg calf raises per leg. So that's not a ton. No. And I am crippled, absolutely crippled. I
Different way
cannot
of
straighten
moving.
my knees. And to make it even worse, to really dig that knife into me, the back of my calves got so sunburned that very same day. So not only does the muscles on my calves hurt, but the skin on my calves hurt. So
got to get the
we're
aloe
not
vera.
doing great.
Aloe vera that
I
up.
need the full plant.
All right. Got a PR. So my other PR, I was gonna say this. I'm going to PR Nick Nixon, who has been the radio voice, broadcast voice of the Los Angeles Kings since 1981. He's retiring this season.
Whoa!
They had a good ceremony for him the other night, and he's a guy. It's like who was, I don't know. You just have the people that you listen to growing up that you remember, and I can remember in Sacramento, I had one of those old component stereos, like the speakers attached, and it had a turntable and like dual tape decks on it, so you could make mixtapes and stuff. And I could dial in AM 690, which at the time was the AM station for the Kings. I could listen to him at night, and he was a guy that I had always looked up to, class act, and it's just not going to be the same listening to Kings games without his. Bob Miller's already gone, and now Nick Nixon's going. So anyway, just PR to Nick Nixon for a great career.
I am going to PR.
Awesome.
Tommy, I need you to look this up because I need the Tommy Marquez check of approval. Torchy's Tacos.
Oh, Torchy's Tacos. Yeah, in Austin.
Oh, yes. So Torchy's.
I have frequented Torchy's.
Ah, okay. Do you approve of their tacos?
I do. There are definitely some white person Tex-Mex kind of. They got some But
okay, well,
it's
I
good
like
enough.
my
It's like an entry level Mexican food, is what you're saying, right? It's like get you hooked.
No, I feel like some of them were really authentic, but I also live in Syracuse, New York, so getting good tacos is
frame
not
of reference.
possible
There
here.
is
No. There's definitely some authentic stuff, but we're talking about a blended family here. Let's be honest. There's some tacos on that roster that are
for sure.
Yeah.
That are not real.
Yeah.
Right.
Very good.
I wouldn't call
I wouldn't call
it like classic, but it's like a twist on it. So it's good.
It wasn't the place that we went in Dallas Fort Worth.
No, that place was
lit.
I'm pretty sure I was related to half of the people there.
You got a PR, Tommy?
I got two of them actually.
All right.
Once again, I'm going to PR babies because Lauren Fisher and Rasmus Anderson announced that they're pregnant.
I missed that. Congratulations!
Just a whole bunch of fit kids are going to be walking around here in the next 5 to 6 years. And then I'm also going to PR. Did someone send this to you guys? KCI CrossFit for their 25.2 theme.
Yes,
they did SmackDown. Theme.
Oh my God, that was awesome! Thank you for bringing that up. That was the one I forgot. That was phenomenal.
They had like a little entrance veil with for them to come through, and they had to dress up and do entrance announcements they do in wrestling.
Oh, that's funny.
They had the workout. They had made a makeshift wrestling ring that they were. Oh, well done. What was that gym again? What was his name?
KCI CrossFit.
KCI CrossFit. Well done, everybody. That's a Friday Night Lights I want to go to.
Totally. I mean, even I was like, how are they breathing in there? Like the smoke machine was going on.
Yeah. That was like that far from going off the rails.
100%.
Oh man. So yeah, that was really cool. I have not seen that. And I've seen the intramural thing where people they do I've seen a Harry Potter theme, stuff like that, but the wrestling theme, fantastic. Okay. Lauren, where are you going this weekend? You're always off to some exciting place.
Yes, this weekend I'm going to Chicago for a women's elite rugby game.
Oh my God, Chicago
match.
Nice.
Chicago.
Where are you going to eat?
Oh yeah.
Bears. Go to the turtle races.
What did you say?
Go to the turtle races. Remember the turtle races, Tommy?
Big Joe's, baby.
Big Joe's.
Is that a restaurant?
It's like a bar.
It's a bar, and they do
turtle
racing.
Turtle races.
Turtle races. Yeah,
Big Joe's.
We went there for Tom's
I
party.
was the weekly turtle racing champion in
Big Joe's.
August of 2022. Yeah, 2022. I have a shirt that says I won,
awesome.
and I won with Yolanda, the slowest effing turtle in the world.
Yeah, that's what they called her. And
They literally chant that.
That stuff.
What?
It was like Thunderdome in that place. Like, it was not just like, oh, look at fun. This is funny. There's this turtle race. It was like bloodthirsty fans ready to kill each other over this thing. It was great. It was intense.
Okay.
Yeah. Turtle races.
But
check them out.
But
I'll put it on my list.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Are you going to get deep dish?
Well, that Girodino's, I think, is the no, not that. Okay. Something like that.
Giordano's?
Yeah.
Giordano's.
That's
yeah, I was close.
Oh, so close.
That place.
There's Giordano's. That's,
I got most of the letters.
We knew
right.
what you were talking about. That's what's important.
If you can get to Pequod's, Pequod's is my pick for deep dish in Chicago.
Pequod's? Okay.
Yeah, it's very good. And then Portillo's, that's like the chain you got to go to for the Italian beef and the Chicago dog.
I love Chicago. Great city.
Classic. I love
too.
Chicago
Great city.
too.
All right. Well, best of luck there. I'll be in Cookeville, Tennessee. The Mayhem Classic.
Hey.
Looking forward to that as we kick off semifinal season. Hey, good luck to all the age groupers out there who are competing this weekend. And please read the rules, watch your videos. Don't get kicked out or don't get your score invalidated because of something stupid that you could have easily prevented. All right. Just be thorough. All right. Want to make sure everyone gets in. We have a great competition. And then it's a long break for them until the games, which are going to be in Columbus, right? The Masters games are in Columbus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Masters and teens.
Yeah, the age groups. That'll be great.
All of them.
All right. That's going to do it for us. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks again to Yeti for hooking us up. We always appreciate their help as we are ready to travel and enjoy cold/warm beverages in our new drinkware.
All the time.
Yeti.com. Yeti, built for the wild. For Lauren Khalil and Tommy Marquez, I'm Sean Woodland. Take care of each other. Be better. And we'll talk to you guys next time.
Like a kiss at the start of a first date. If it's good, I don't want to wait. But the feeling